Hi, everybody, and welcome to a special edition of Shepherd's Call. We're gathered here with some of my friends here, and we're here to discuss special needs, those who will have special needs. And we want to have an honest conversation, and we want to have an open conversation. And so, welcome to our conversation. We've actually have started to have a conversation, but we didn't tape it. So now we want to tape it, so that hopefully that you guys will be able to get the same benefits that I'm getting, and that we're all here for. And so the topic is a difficult one. Special needs. Number one, it's a broad topic. There isn't just one set of situations that is special needs. We're talking about our children having special needs. There's so many different types. There's so many different spectrums. There's physical kind. There's learning disabilities of sorts, cognitive, all different kinds. I want to come from an angle that is difficult for me to say. I've heard it, and I have to say it, and every time I say it, I get somebody who corrects me, and rightly so. There have been few people that have come to me and looked at special needs children, whether in the womb, because some of them are diagnosed in the womb, or some of them that were diagnosed later on as being a curse. And it's difficult to hear that. It's difficult for us to even discuss it, but it is seen by a large number of people as, and I've had people come to me and say, what did I do wrong that God is punishing me with this? And this, I understand that a lot of times it comes from pain. And first and foremost, there's nothing that you have done from a past sin or past whatever that brings about this. There's nothing about it. So it is not seen as a curse. It is the human condition. It's a difficult part of the human condition. We all have something in our human condition. None of us is going to be able to outlive death or outlive illnesses or old age or difficulties. For some, it starts much earlier. For some, it's much greater. And that's the difficulty about it. But it is not a curse. And when we get in our conversation here with some of my friends, and there's a difficulty, but there are so many graces and so many blessings that with every difficulty, God wants to share with all of you and all of us. And this is where our community is growing in its understanding of special needs. It is building, and it's slow, it's organic, but where we used to be and where we are at, we're on a trajectory of growth. I would love to see what has been given in different communities, like friendship circles and the others, similar but different programs in our Chaldean community, run by Chaldeans, for our beautiful angels who deserve much more than just looked down at, but giving them a beautiful gift for them to be able to thrive. And each of our little girls and our little boys are different, and their abilities and capabilities are different. That's not to say there aren't difficulties, but we are here to discuss the graces, the blessings, the difficulties, and the and the joys and the hardships of all of this. So I'm going to ask each of my guests to introduce themselves, and we'll take it from there. So,
hi, I'm Linda Zaytuna Jonai. I'm a special needs teacher. I'm finishing year 19. I've worked with students with learning disabilities, and currently I'm working with students at the high school level with cognitive impairments.
Nice.
Hi, I'm Silvana Pata, and I am married to Cliff. We're actually celebrating our 21-year wedding anniversary in a few days, and we have 3 beautiful children, almost 19-year-old, almost 18-year-old, and our 16-year-old, and we have kids on the autism spectrum disorder.
Amen.
Hello, I'm Cliff Pata. her husband, Silvana's husband, and we have kids with special needs. We have kids with autism, and we're here to share some information about it and pass along whatever we can to help anybody out there that needs help.
There were other couples, and this is, again, we've talked about, I started to mention that there are difficulties, and there's another couple that should have been with us, but their special need child was in need of medical attention, and they were with their child, and so we think of them as well as others who wanted, but for whatever reason couldn't. So to start off the conversation, I want to start off with the negative, and hearing. Let's call it the grief aspect. When you first heard that your child, and I'm going to use bad words, is not going to grow up to be quote unquote normal. How was that?
Okay, so I remember diagnosis day. Diagnosis day was, this was the final appointment where you go in to, if they determine if your child fits the autism spectrum disorder, because autism is not something you do with blood work or just a one-time appointment. You have multiple separate appointments leading up to final diagnosis day, because autism is not even one trait or one behavior. They have to observe them on multiple different settings. So this was the final day. And back then, we didn't have social media, we didn't have Facebook, we didn't have, blogs. So anytime I would try to Google anything about autism, it would be very clinical, black and white type of information. And Jaden, our oldest, he was diagnosed at 18 months old. And by that time, his baby brother was already born. They're 13 months apart. And I remember that day, they were very cranky. Cliff was supposed to come to the appointment with me, and I said, you know what, you just stay with the kids, I'm just gonna go. To be honest, I still didn't understand autism myself. I was like, oh, he's in therapy, he's gonna outgrow it, it's, we're fine. This is no big deal. And man, did I underestimate that appointment. I walked in, it was a group of doctors. There was 3 or 4 doctors that had been seeing him. And then there was a social worker that I've never met. And the first thing one of the doctors said to me, he threw out a number. He said, 1 in every 150 kids. That was the number back then. 1 in every 150 kids is diagnosed with autism, and your child is the one. And then he started to talk about all his findings. And then the second doctor started talking about their finding. And then by the time the third doctor talked, I think I was in some type of shock. I can hear them, but I'm not processing what they're telling me. And finally, the social worker comes on and she hands me a pamphlet, a big booklet. And I was like, fine, ooh, this is how I'm gonna fix him. This is how I'm gonna cure him, okay, give me the good stuff. I need to know what's gonna happen. And I opened the pamphlet. The first pamphlet was clinical information. The second was parent support groups in our area. And then the third pamphlet was marriage counseling. And I was so puzzled by it. I was like, why is that in our pamphlet? I don't understand. And she said, you and your husband are gonna need a lot of support. And I said, why? I was still didn't understand why that was in there. And she said, unfortunately, that, many couples who have kids with special needs struggle in their marriage, and the divorce rate is very high.
Wow.
And
did they give any numbers for
so it's up to 80%.
Wow.
Yeah, up to 80% of one spouse can't handle the pressure and the stress of it all.
In general, or just with autism?
It was autism. That's just more special needs in special needs families. And at that point, I was like, I need to get out. I just need to leave this appointment. And I sat in my car and I'm thinking, what am I going to go tell Cliff, right? What am I going to tell him? And then I looked at that paper and I said, you know what? The devil's not going to win my marriage.
Amen.
And I ripped it and I threw it away, and I didn't tell him about it when I got home. In fact, the next year, we had to endure this appointment again because we had to diagnose our second son. And I purposely made the appointment on a day when he couldn't come. Because one, I was like, I remember what I had to go through the first time. Like, why am I going to make him go through that? And second, I didn't want him to hear what that social worker had to say about divorce or marriage or any of that. And really, we were both already still grieving our first son, right? And then now it's like both of our kids. And we had to really just change, not just the way we had to parent. The diagnosis changed the way we had to communicate, the way we had to really just cope and survive. And we were both on different levels of, like, where we were in our grief was day and night from each other. And I wanted him to grieve the way I was grieving. And it wasn't, like, we were such, it was complete opposite of each other. And I was just, it's a strange type of grief, because it's not like we're grieving our children as if they passed away. They are such, like, beautiful, alive, but we're grieving the experiences.
It wasn't, so the vision I had as a father and my expectations and all of the dreams that I thought I was going to have,
it's like,
it was night and day. And I was in denial, total denial. Still thought all that would happen, experience all that good stuff. Don't get me wrong, I still have a lot of good stuff I do experience.
Amen.
And I will be experiencing. They're my best friends. Yeah. We do everything. You won't find me with just hanging out by myself.
Yeah.
They're with me. They're with me all the time. They're my workout buddies. They're my out to eat buddies. They're everywhere with me. But the vision that I had, like I was saying earlier, that, I'm going to do this or that, or still do a lot of those things, but in a totally different way. Adjustments, a lot of adjustments.
Yeah.
How much strain did it put on your marriage?
Oh my God. Do you want me to go?
So we went through a phase where I don't think it wasn't about us. It was like we didn't even think we were
like
married
managers
anymore.
At some point of our life, you just
for a long time, like we were just managing our house, like juggling this, take them to therapy, speech, ABA.
What's
do this.
ABA?
Applied behavior therapy.
Okay.
So that's a very popular therapy that a lot of times for kids on the spectrum, that's like one of the first therapies that they will recommend. And our children were in therapy, ABA therapy, 30 hours a week.
Wow.
On top of early intervention as a 2-year-old or as an 18-year-old.
Wow.
Naps were cut out.
Yeah.
Naps were cut out as a 2-year-old.
So for majority of the time, I was living in my car more than I was living at home. And it was just, and we couldn't even get them on the same schedule. So I would drive one in the morning, I would have help, someone driving the other one back, and we would just, so it caused us, I think, it tested the way we communicate. It tested the way our patience with each other. It tested, there were seasons when one would feel like they're doing more than the other. There was a season when one would feel like, I'm sick of being the strong one. There was a season when we would want to blame someone or something. And I can see, unfortunately, how that can really, autism can really break a marriage. But for us, it really strengthened it in a way where once we started to heal, it forced honesty, it forced communication, because I was like, okay, we need to teamwork with a purpose. Like, you're good at this, I'm good at this, and we made our one-on-one time a priority. Like one time he came home and he's like, enough of this carry out. Like we're going to actually go out and date each other.
Yeah,
again.
we started, we used that word. I mean, we said, listen, we're married, but let's start dating again.
Yeah.
Because we don't go out.
Yeah.
Right.
So we need to actually take care of ourselves as well as, we do a lot with the kids, this, that, but we need to make time for ourselves too. So we would date each other once a week.
Nice.
Where we would go out, and it would whatever it would be,
You know what? I have to say that even without special needs children, even when you have children are such a beautiful blessing, but they can also destroy a marriage.
Yeah.
Because it could
Yeah.
take all of the focus of the
Yeah.
parents, where the parents are no longer looking at each other and continuously building their relationship, and now they're only seeing each other as parents and not as
Right.
partners
Yeah.
or couples. So that's a phenomenal.
Yeah.
How did you guys get to this level? That's, was it something organic? Because I love how you started off with and said, you know what? I'm not going to let this break my
Yeah.
marriage. I'm not going
Yeah.
to let the devil win.
Yeah.
And this is where both of
Yeah.
you came in and said, okay, I need to, take this in a different angle.
Right. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. There was a lot of grief, and there still will always be a lot of grief at this journey. And for a long time, I used to feel guilty for grieving because I used to feel like I can't grieve and love at the same time. That these two things can't coexist.
Yeah.
So I used to bury that. Like I used to just try to keep busy, or like find another therapy or another treatment to keep myself busy. And when we're grieving the experiences that our kids don't get to have. We're grieving that they have to work 10 times harder just to get to baseline on things that come so naturally to others.
Right.
And, no one sits here and asks for this, right? Like you said, no one sits here and prays to have a child with special needs. We just imagined being parents, and we thought we were going to have a child similar to what other people had. We thought we would have a child who would walk by the age of 1, who would talk by the age of 2, who would be fully potty trained by the age of 3, a child who'd come home and be filled with curiosity and questions by age 4, and a child you could send off to school by age 5, right?
Right.
And a lot of
And
us
take your
didn't
break.
get that. My son, Jaden, he's turning 19, he didn't say his very first word until he was 7.
Wow.
And his first word wasn't mom, so that stabbed me a little
Wow.
bit more. He eventually said mom at age 8. But
It was dad.
There's an amen to that.
that felt, we celebrate, we went on a cruise. That's how we celebrated his first
Nice.
word. Like, you take the ordinary little things, it makes you really slow down and see the world in such a different light.
Right.
Because you get to appreciate the little things that
Right.
you never got to see.
I love what you said, Cliff, also saying that enough of takeout, let's go.
Yeah.
You know what? This is where, we don't want to give others the understanding of we're just going to shelter ourselves. There's a life out there to be enjoyed.
Yeah.
For you, for them as well. And I mentioned this to you guys, but when I was in high school, I spent a summer working with adults who were challenged. And one of their funnest times, I can still remember this. The reason why is because we put music and they would dance.
Yeah.
And the way they would dance with all their heart. And the songs were from, I don't want to text it. It just brings bad memories because the number of times that I heard it was from Grease, the movie. Grease, and they would dance like as if they were in Greece. And they would be in heaven. And one of the cutest things is that each one had to find a boyfriend and a girlfriend.
Yeah.
And I remember one of them telling me, saying that, do you have a girlfriend? I said, no. She said, if I wasn't taken, you'd be my boyfriend. And I just thought, wow, what joy that they carried. And this is where I want to switch it up a little bit. Linda, what got you into
Teaching?
Yeah.
So I've always had a knack for like wanting to be around children. I've always had a love since I was little. I would play teacher by myself, like go in the drawers in the house and be like, what's in there? And I'm, grading. And then in high school, I got to take a class, and I experience it as a teacher now with my gen ed kids, where I got to work with a special ed population. And just, I would have lunch with some of the kids, and the joy and the excitement of me just being there and being their friend, somebody that wasn't just from their class, somebody else, me, and I just felt so special, and I just fell in love. I fell in love, and it was always on my mind, but I was always scared of doing it because I did it's the unknown.
You're a natural.
But it's so much unknowns because I don't know, what area of special ed am I going to do? What kind of children am I going to have? What grades am I going to, work with? But God, God gives you talents. And I love my job. I can't imagine if somebody said, if you retire, what would you do? I don't know. Because this is what I love. There's the not fun parts, but just being in my classroom, the kids are just so joyful, so happy. And yes, it does come with difficulties, but it's also taught me to be so patient and to look at each individual kid and just learn them. Yeah. Who are you? And what can I do? My role is how can I make you better? Yeah. They make me better, but how can I help you? It is my absolute goal. How can I push you? I like to tell my parents, I don't want to say there's a ceiling. I want to push the boundaries. Yeah. And see, I'm going to, and they'll give me a look. I'll have, why would you do that to me, Miss G? That's a thumbs down. I didn't like that. I'm like, it's okay. It's okay. Nice. I want to see. And it's so much. It's so much fun.
And I got to say that what I experienced this summer, you're experiencing how many years now?
19.
19.
Yes.
The difficulty always comes with a grace.
Yes.
And a blessing. So I want to ask, I'll put you guys back on the spot. The grief, when did you start experiencing it as joy? When did it start changing? I mean, obviously, there wasn't, once this happened, then we were done. Yeah. No, it's obviously, you have to give yourself an opportunity to be joyful with each other. Right. As you are being joyful with your children. Yeah, right.
So with me, it started with denial, a lot of denial. This can't be, not my kid, blaming God, just churning on your faith. Then all of us, I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden, one day, everything changed. I'm not going to let this hold me back. I stopped, being in denial. I started, doing my job that I visioned that with the normal kid. I didn't put any limits on it. I said, you know what? It's going to take longer, but we're going to do this. We're going to do whatever we have to do. Everything I visioned I would do with a regular kid, I started doing it with them. I taught them how to swim. Nice. Taught them how to ride a bike.
You're going to have to teach me how to swim. I still don't know how to swim.
There were a lot of
everything I would have done with that normal kid I would have had, I started applying to them. It took a lot longer. It's okay. It taught me patience. It helped me be a better person, through the patience.
And I have to tell you, I used to resent him a little bit because he would force us to go out to dinner on the busiest day, on the busiest night. And I'm like, are you trying to give me anxiety? I can't, it's hard. And he's like, no, we're going to do it. We're going to try it. And I would come home feeling defeated because it was anything but joyful at that time, going out to dinner. Disaster. It was, and we kept doing it until one day it wasn't new anymore. And now if you ask them what their favorite thing to do is, it's going out to eat. Nice. Same thing with church, if I'm honest. Yeah. I used to dread going to church with my family, if I'm being honest. I was so hyper-focused on my kids. Oh my God, they're making noise. The Amo behind me is whispering, he's annoyed. I'm putting all these scenarios in my mind. What if the bishop is talking and he's going to have his meltdown? How am I going to escape? I'm trying to study where my exit signs are. I come home and I'm like, I don't even remember what the homily was about. And yet we continued to do it every week. I would pre-plan it for days. Nice. And now Saturdays, our son walks in, Jaden, he's like, Mom, today's Saturday. Yeah, I need my nice clothes for church to go see Jesus. I said, yes. If God forbid, if we try to if we have to miss.
It's their routine. Church has become their routine.
Yes.
Nice.
So it goes back to that limit, not to be able. You always presume competence in that you assume that they are willing to learn, but you know they're not going to learn on the same milestone as a typical developing child.
Though, and that's what's helpful.
Yes.
You've put in so much hard work, and now you're reaping a lot of the graces.
Yes, absolutely.
I thank God for the way they've come along. It's night and day.
Yeah.
One of the things that the church, the Chaldean church, especially here in Detroit, but also in Chicago, and God willing elsewhere, we've begun to see the needs. And so we do have, we celebrate our special needs children. So we do have a mass in the east side and in the west side, as well as in Chicago. And for me, it's a joy to be, and we've seen also other community events and community organizations that have also done some special needs, adults or children programs, and we're hoping more so. We started now, some of the parishes have also responded for Christmas and Easter. Christmas Eve and Easter Eve at an early Mass at around 11 a.m. There is a special needs Mass, and a lot of more parishes are picking that up, and they're doing it. This is where you can go and experience Easter or Christmas earlier than everybody else. Don't have to worry about Amu sitting behind and whatever is happening or whatever they might be.
I love their sensory, even now, the sensory-friendly masses. I'm like, I wish I had this back in my day. I used to long for that because that's, we want to go in.
Issue. Our kids did have the sensory issue. They've
Yes.
they've overcome it. Thank God they've overcome
Amen.
it. That's not an issue anymore. They do the prayers in church. When we get ready, so the funniest thing is when we do the Our Father in church, and we stand, and we put our hands on, we hold the person's hand next to us. My son that's on the end, he'll always, and I'm like, I always say, like, I hope it's a friendly person next to him, because he wants to hold their hand.
Wow.
And
Habibi.
90% of the time it's not an issue. Sometimes they look at him like,
I will hold hands with other guys. Leave me alone.
But it's fine. It's fine.
That's great.
It's fine. It puts a smile to my. It brings a smile to my face. Seeing them, seeing the progress they've made, and they're continuing.
What about extended families? Whether it's siblings, how much pressure this puts on siblings, or even your siblings, cousins, uncles. The whole thing, it is difficult. And I'm going to say something that is also bad. And back in the day, 20, 30 years ago, I know of certain friends who did not get married to certain people because that's somebody in the family that was on the spectrum. And as a result, it created problems. And I completely disagreed with the notion. There were pressure from extended families, do not marry into this family because of they have a cousin or they have a sister or they have whatever. And that actually, to me, was such a problem, but it was back then. I've been a priest now for 31 years. And when I first became a priest, that was an issue. And that was a problem. And there were families and there were engagements that were broken up because of that. But I want to hear from you guys. What about extended families? What about, what about even siblings? Because in some cases, there are children. Not all the children have special needs. What does that do with these siblings? And I want to hear later on from your perspective also as a teacher.
Luckily, we have beautiful family on both ends, and
Thank God.
They've embraced our kids and they've helped us in this journey so much. But I can tell you, I have a lot of friends who, a lot of families, they don't have that type of family support because it's hard for them to understand, or like what you're saying, even to now, like the generational part. My friend was like, I had a comment where they said, "Oh, Gezila, like your daughter, because her son, her brother is on the special needs, she might not get married," and because of exactly what you're saying, and you know, we already hold so much guilt and so much pressure, and it's like just added pressure. The siblings are so beautiful in this. The siblings that grow alongside with our, you know, the special needs siblings, they grow to be more compassionate, more empathy. They get to
overall better people. They're
make them better people
because of the experiences they've had
yes
with their
siblings.
sibling.
Yes.
They've learned the patience, and they've learned to truly love.
They become guardian angels.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Or even if they're the younger kids to their older siblings.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're protectors. They're everything to that.
Yeah.
I
child.
know of one, and I don't want to mention names, but I know one where she went up to her dad and she said, "My brother's coming with me, and whoever's going to marry me, if he doesn't accept my brother, I want nothing to do with him."
I
That's the
love
most
her.
beautiful.
It really was, and this is where he was a beautiful kid, a little difficult sometimes, but he was always seen the angel of the family.
Yeah.
He was and I can't tell you the number of families that would introduce me to their special needs child as, "This is our angel."
Yeah.
And the rest of the siblings were like, "Yeah, that's our angel." That's, you know, and they would support in so many different ways.
Yes,
in so many different
absolutely.
ways. Beautiful.
You're saying angels. The term that I always say when I speak of them, I say, I truly believe they have a free ticket into heaven. They don't sin. They don't.
100%.
They don't hurt people. They're not chasing money. They're not doing all of the things. You know, they're pure. They're
really are.
pure.
And even the mistakes that they make are not guilty in some ways.
No.
You know, they're
Absolutely.
and I think Jesus was saying, you know, the kingdom of heaven is made of these.
Sometimes I look at them and I say, what's wrong with us?
Oh, well said.
Are they
well said.
Are they what, like, is that like, you know,
They're the
are we
normal.
supposed to be like them?
Yes.
They
Because
love everybody.
they're always
They don't
happy. They love
discriminate.
everyone.
Yes.
Yeah. They're their authentic self. You know, I had to sit, last year our son turned 18, and a lot of, you know, as an 18-year-old, usually you celebrate and you have a big party, or, you know, you go out of town. And for our son's 18th birthday, we had to hire an attorney. We had to go and stand in front of a judge. And we had to claim guardian, and that by far, you know, when you talk about
He's
grief,
talking about the guardianship.
The
right now.
guardianship.
Explain that
Yeah.
a little bit
Yeah.
more.
Yes.
It's the guardianship
so
process.
once you turn 18, and you have to either do power of attorney or guardianship if your child is.
Which means
It's not all special needs, though.
not all special
But, yes.
needs, but depends
some,
on if
right.
they're
Depends
not
on
independent.
Yes, where their level is.
So, and we had to do that for our 18-year-old. And I would have probably kept myself busy and just suppressed that grief, but I knew I needed to sit with that because it took me a while to learn that I needed to, you know, you can't heal from what you refuse to reveal.
Beautifully said.
And I think Father Brian told me that actually.
well, you're a smart man. And you know, this is what we do in confession.
Yes.
But it's not just confession of sins, but it's also
Yeah.
any kind of healing.
Yes,
You know,
absolutely.
And there's
Yes.
something physical as well as emotional as well as spiritual
Yeah.
about it.
But as I sat with my grief, something beautiful happened because as I was sitting with this grief, I also reflected on how much, you know, we've come along as a family, how much our son has come along, like for all the no's he was told, for all the, you know, he surpassed him in his own way and his own time. And I was just thinking about Jaden's been Jaden his whole life. Like, we can't even get him to lie. Like, jokingly, we try to get him to lie. I'm like, that is pure form of humanity, you know? And it made me reflect, you know, this whole time I'm so focused on Jaden, but really it changed us the most. It made us, you know, true surrender, like truly surrender our desires for God's will. It made us, you know, it taught us community. There are some people that God planted in my life that I would have never met if it wasn't for our kids with disabilities. They are truly my human angel form. Like, so much healing has happened through these people. And I know they're watching, and I love you.
Yes.
And and it also taught me that in this journey, yes, there is going to be grief and joy, and they are going to coexist in the same breath. But we are, you know, the grief and the joy of it, it's just, they are it's a life that lived differently, but still life so beautiful
Yeah.
and so joyful. And you see that in Jesus himself. One of my favorite quotes or Bible verses is actually the shortest, when Jesus is standing at the tomb of Lazarus and he's about to resurrect his friend and be reunited with him, and yet Jesus still wept, right? And he wept not because he didn't believe, he wept because of the love, the brokenness, the ache he was feeling around him. He entered that grief. And that's when I said, you know what? I know Jesus holds me in my hope and in my sorrow. And these two things can coexist at the same time. There are times in the same scenario, I'll say, dear Lord, I am terrified to do this forever. And I turn around 5 minutes later and I'm like, dear Lord, thank you for counting me worthy that I get to do this forever.
You know what? Your next homily is on you.
I know.
And both of you, actually.
You're so
You guys are going to be
well-spoken.
tag-timing, and I'm going to be standing on the side going,
Very beautiful
my Lord and my
I
God.
have to tell you, this real secret for our marriage is because this amazing priest, 21 years ago married us. His name is Father Frank.
Okay. I don't know where he's at.
You sprinkled extra.
Well, you guys are the blessing. And you know what? What you've done is show us the way to navigate through stigma, through the pain, through the hardships. And what would you say to somebody who is going through this right now? What would you say to them that are trying to balance between being a good father or mother, being a good child of God, seeing the difficulties that come with it? Because it's almost like, the first few months or first year of a child's life is, the waking up late at night and whatever. Sometimes it takes years instead of just a year or a few months.
Right.
And what you said, Cliff, in a beautiful way, I'm going to do what I need to do. And if, a normal child takes X amount, and my children are going to take longer than X. It's X plus whatever.
Yeah.
I want to go back to the joy that she's talking about, or the joy for me is when I take them out, and we'll be out, and we go to the gym a lot, so they'll be at the gym with me, and I'm looking for one of them, and he always disappears, and I'm like, come on, we have to finish up, and he comes back running. I'm like, where were you? I had to say hi to so-and-so. And that person that he says hi to, sometimes I see it from a distance, they are so happy that he goes and acknowledges them and says hello to them and how's your day, and they have a conversation back and forth. And then he'll run back because it's his turn to do his exercise, and he knows Dad's going to get upset, so you better come back. But I always ask him, where were you? And it's always, I had to say hi to so-and-so.
Yeah.
So-and-so is here. I'm like, okay, good. So I see the impact that they make on, and it brings a smile to all these people's face.
Right.
And it like they impact other people's, their lives too, because that smile goes a long way.
Do you want to discuss that a little bit more, Linda?
I have the privilege of being at the same school as their kids, and I also had the privilege of working with them through the special needs communion program. And you are right, like even from then to now, the change is so amazing, and how it's just wow, and it's all praise and glory to God and all the hard work you guys have put in as parents. But they're not in my classroom, but I haven't seen them since elementary school, and I just started at Wild Lake Central this year. And we were at open house. And I saw Silvana, I'm like, she already texted me, I hear you coming over here, yay. Yes. And it's been such a joy also to be a part of the Chaldean community, because I haven't had that in my teaching career yet. And to now I have random parents getting my phone number and asking for advice on things, and I absolutely love it. If anybody needs advice, I am happy to give it. But so I went to see her kids, and Cameron, do you remember Miss Linda? When's her birthday? October 25. Like, hi, remember that. You know,
Yeah.
Jaden, when did you get married? June 21st. That's a Saturday. And I'm like, wow, you know, they're just so cool every time I see them in the hallway. Hi, Miss Linda. And my kids will be like, why are they calling you by your first name? I'm like, so, you know, so am I. Like, can I say that? I'm like, no. I was like, we go back.
Yes.
But
Yes.
they're just, even like some of mine, I had a meeting with a parent today. It's his graduation. He's moving up too. The happiest human that I've ever met. I could be, you know, having a day, and he just comes. I don't think I've ever seen him be sad or frown. Just so happy, so optimistic, so positive. And it's like, you know, and even if he's like struggling, it's okay. Like, I got this. And he, you know, he's so motivated. He just wants to do well. And it's like, wow, this is so beautiful.
Right.
Like, we need to all be this way, because it's just one look at him and my whole day changes for the positive.
Yeah.
How much do you see the face of Jesus in these children?
Every day.
And how much have they impacted other people's faith?
Oh, man.
I had a friend that I spoke to that was supposed to be here, but for other reasons he couldn't make it. But he was telling me a story. He shared a story with me that he says his daughter's really impacted a lot of people, and he told me, like, there's a caretaker for his daughter, and that caretaker wouldn't have a job if it wasn't for his daughter. And he says they have a sitter that has been with them for a minute, and this sitter his daughter has impacted that sitter's life in such a positive way that she's actually going to be converting
Nice.
and becoming a Catholic.
Nice. And I got to tell you this.
That's
it's not
all. That's all through his
Right.
special needs.
That's
child.
not the first time that I hear
Wow.
that.
Really?
I know of somebody who was a teacher and, you know, and a lead, I don't know what to call it, you know, person in charge for this child,
Yeah.
and converted. Went through the whole process, and a couple of years
Beautiful.
ago became baptized, and on Easter Sunday or Easter Eve, and now are living their Catholic faith, and living their Catholic faith with joy. And it's not just converting, you know, to a faith. It's converting from the inside out, in a complete manner. And this is where these blessings, you know, I started off saying, some people said that word. I don't want to use that word again. These blessings are so hard.
Yes.
Struggle.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But the joy that you can receive, and we use this word how many times just within the last 5 minutes, and it's a real joy. It's a divine joy that has changed people's hearts and people's lives. And unfortunately, we live in a society that wants to get rid of anything that is imperfect. And this is where I hate to use this word, abortion is so many times, I can't tell you the number of times, people have come to me and said, looking for permission to commit an abortion because my child is not going to grow normally. You know, and in a couple of cases it was the child is going to die soon after they were born. And there was actually a book that was written by a couple who actually experienced 1 hour with their child after their birth. And how much that 1 hour impacted their lives and gave them such a profound understanding of God blessings. I mean, going through 9 months of a difficult pregnancy to give birth in a difficult manner, to have the child survive for 1 hour. That's
Look at it at that light.
right. Exactly. That's the
Yeah.
thing. It's for a lot of people, it's not human. In matter of fact, this goes against humanity. You're making this child suffer, and you know what? You're evil for doing this. That 1 hour impacted their lives in such a profound way that they wrote a book. And you know, and for you, it's moving beyond just a blessing. It's now, I can't live without this.
Right. Absolutely.
And I can see it in all of you,
Yeah.
you know, and all of those who have embraced the graces of God, even in difficulties and in difficult manners, where it becomes part of your breath, part of your life, where it's no longer just an option, it's who I am now. They have changed me. And for me, one summer did this to me. And 19 years as a teacher, parents who've now grown with all of this, it really is profound and it's really a gift.
And it really does also, I mean, affects it does, test your faith too, spiritually. Yes. And I had lost my identity, like for a season. I was in a season of just, I could tell you everything about autism, but if you asked me one thing about myself, I couldn't tell you anything about myself. Mm-hmm. My life was so narrowed down to the appointments, the advocacy, all of that. And I realized at one point that I stopped being myself and I just became the autism mom. That became my whole identity. And, autism wasn't just part of my life, it became the center of my life. And anytime you put something in the center, that becomes an idol. Even it's born out of love.
Beautifully said.
Right? And I wasn't worshiping autism, but I was seeing everyone and everything through the lens of, even in the way I used to go to God about it, if I'm being honest. I used to take autism to God all day, every day. But I stopped bringing myself to God.
I noticed this. That's why I started dating her again.
Nice. And can I tell you something? That is such a profound way to say to your spouse, in this case your wife, I love you.
Yeah.
And I love you. I don't love an autism mom.
Right. Yes.
I don't love, I love you for who you are as a person.
Yeah.
Your children don't define you. Who you are is who you are, regardless of your strengths and weaknesses. And this is where the beauty comes in. It's being able to see a person, being a person as well. And this is the beauty of Jesus. That Jesus was, we look him at as divine, and he is. We're not questioning that. But this is why I love shows like The Chosen, where you just really bring Christ down to really being human and divine. Yeah. And, the miracles that he's done, but he's so human. He laughed. He cried, like you mentioned, and Jesus wept. The shortest, in the English translation, it's the shortest verse. But he also was proud of seeing things being done the right way, was saddened, was angered as well. But all of it is, there's a beauty there that the personality, the humanity of Jesus, including his divinity, which is so beautiful, which is so marvelous, that's the love. The love comes between the combination of the divine and the human. And that's what you guys did. It's what all of you guys do. And that is, you allow the divine to mix in with the human, where it's not just, I'm a broken person in a broken family. Well, look, we all are. Yeah. With broken children and broken parents and broken... No, I am a human being. Yeah. And this is where dating, your wife again, is being able to say...
We would like to go out to eat a lot. So
that's awesome. Amen to that. And here's the thing, it's being able, and I've actually used to say this to couples who were engaged and getting ready to get married. I said, do not lose yourselves in the one-day event. Because a lot of times, especially the last few months, it's, hey, did you take care of your list of names? Did you? I said, when you guys go out, just say, hey, you look good. Yeah. Hey, I miss you. Right. You look beautiful today. Yeah. How was your day? Being able then to be human in love, because love is divine. And allowing that to mature within you now, I like the word you used, in this season that you're in. And this season of, we're parents, we have beautiful children, we have beautiful friends and teachers who are around us, enjoying what we have, living it up to the extreme, and allowing God's love to work in us in a human way. It's so beautiful and so refreshing to see. Because unfortunately, a lot of times, those who come to my office and to clergy offices, not all the time. I mean, I've had people who came in and say, hey, I want to give to others what I received. I remember a few appointments that I've received with that. But for the vast majority, it's, why God? Why is this happening? How do I deal with this? Where do I go with this? And you know what? And I'm happy to walk them with, their struggles, their pains, their issues, or whatever that's going on, because that's what Jesus would want. But I have to say, it's so refreshing at times to see those who are enjoying life.
And I have to tell you, I felt the same way too. I'm sorry. And at one point I did, I was like, I was going to God in a different way. I was going to God into, when my son talks, then I could be happy. When my son eats more than 2 things, then I could find joy here. When God removes this from me, then I can celebrate. And that's how I would go to God. I was like, remove this from me. And then once I started to understand Jesus better and stopped asking when and started asking, where do I see Jesus in this circumstance that I'm in? One of my other favorite Bible quote. Actually, I have it on it's I could do all things through Christ who could. And it was this verse that really changed my perspective. It was a season of Lent. I was listening to a podcast. We didn't have the Chaldean Bible in a year or anything like that back then. But
it took us a while for us to do it.
We didn't even have the Hallow app. And he was talking about this verse. It's about contentment in the situation you're in. And I realized something about myself. I realized I had accepted my cross was heavy, but I hadn't accepted my reality because I kept holding on to this wish, right? I kept holding on to this when. I wasn't living in the now. And once I started to see Jesus in that way, and I started saying, where do I see Jesus in that IEP? If you've ever been if you want to see Jesus, go to an IEP. Like, feel Jesus in an IEP meeting. It's so...
What's an IEP meeting?
Individualized educational plan.
Wow.
Yes. And it's very... he got kicked out.
She asked me never to come back. She asked me never to come back.
And all these years, you still have people who will walk out crying, and if they're not crying, they're in their cars.
In the beginning, we had a lady reached out to us. She's an advocate.
Yeah.
She called us, told us how she has this nephew, and she can help come to the IEPs. So she started going with my wife. No big deal. Until I started getting these huge bills. I said to her, this lady acted like she was your friend. It's just some random lady, and started getting like these bills, and
that's an aspect that we haven't even discussed. People are taking advantage.
I said to her, I'm going to come to the next one, and we don't really need this lady. What is she doing? It's not like you don't need an attorney. You're just trying to fight the school district to get more for your child. So anyway, I ended up going, and we left that day, and she looked at me and she's like, you're never coming again.
I said, they're going to kick us out.
She said to me, you just put some fear in them, and you just scared them all off, and they're not going to do anything for us. I said, this is what they need. So she promised that she would read up and try to learn the system and try to fight it, which she did. Nice. And she does that, and any families that we meet that is struggling in the early process, she goes with them free of charge and tries to help them.
I tell them, bring bagels and coffee. That's the best.
Tries to help them
bagels and coffee. That's
guide them and prepare them to prepare them to in the future, so that they can be strong enough to, because you're walking in there and there's probably 12 different people. You got the superintendent, you have
but then you have beautiful people like Linda in there.
I mean, they're all trying to fight you, not to give you extra material that you need, extra help that your child may need. So you got to go in there, and you have to be ready to fight them.
Yes, yeah.
And I think this is where we need to start talking about resources.
Yeah.
What are the resources that are out there?
There is a lot.
And we're going to be limiting, or listing, I should say.
Yeah, I've already come up to the best of my knowledge of a list of resources that you guys are, I don't know if you've already put it out on the
We're
website.
going to putting up, especially at the end of the video as well.
But there is a lot out there. Just as soon as you have a baby and you can go to your local district. For Oakland County, it's Oakland Schools, and apply for Medicaid, get free Medicaid. Start with do they need speech? Do they need OT? Do they need PT? Do they need
Where do they go? Where do they get the resources?
So for Oakland County, it's Oakland Schools.
Okay.
And through your district.
Nice.
I know even with my niece, her speech was delayed, her walking was delayed. My sister was able to go through the district and through Oakland Schools, and for free. Somebody would come to the house and work with her. There are a lot of agencies, Michigan Rehab Services, ARC is huge for guardianship or for power of attorney, post high school. There's something called Living and Learning Center. I've been learning about that. I don't know if you went to the talk.
Beautiful.
It was a big land and was it a hotel?
It's kind of like they have, it's for adults who are looking to transition. They teach them, they go into the community to teach them jobs.
Donated
Yes.
for this program.
Yes.
Like a friendship circle?
Kind of, but for the older.
I see, I see.
For like over 18,
Nice.
yes.
And then there's, for my kids, they have adult transition programs that they focus slowly on job skills, putting them out there in the community, seeing what they can do, what they like, working on cooking, using credit cards. There's so many. Do I know them all? No. But
Hopefully
they're
we're gonna
out
be
there.
listening, yeah.
And again, I'm a resource if anybody ever wants to contact, if you, especially with school questions, because I get asked a lot. And then going back to denial, unfortunately, I've had conversations with parents who, don't want their kids in the public schools and want them in private, and I have to be, and I'm not going to tell anybody what to do. I'm just going to give them facts. Hey, if this is it, you're not going to have these resources. I don't teach in Catholic schools because, unfortunately, they don't have special needs programs. They're
Believe it or not, they're
smaller.
working on it.
Are they? That'd be beautiful.
I have, there is an Italian friend of the community who's actually working on bringing in
amazing.
special.
Talking about Joe
Yes.
Viviano?
Yes.
Very good guy.
Phenomenal guy.
Yeah, he's got
and I'm
his
glad
daughter
that
there.
you
Yeah.
mentioned his name
Yeah, I
because he has a.
He has a daughter.
Yeah, he does. And he's got a fundraiser every year, and I was able to attend one of them, and just to show support. And what they're trying to do is bring to Catholic schools. Catholic schools cannot tap into a lot of the government programs, but that's what he's doing. And a matter of fact, a lot of the schools are getting special grants from what money he is gathering.
Yeah, he started something really, really special.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the important thing, I believe, also is you have 1,000,001 resources. You mentioned Oakland schools. And if you're not in Oakland schools,
Macomb has their
Macomb
own.
will have their own.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Wayne
will
has
have
Wayne
their own.
Risa, yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
All of them will have. All you need to do is start looking for these resources.
Ask
They
questions.
will, they will pop up, including your school districts, including your school itself, including everything. And whatever help that you can get is a benefit that you
Absolutely.
deserve.
And I'm still learning too, even after 19 years. And I always used to look for that older mom who was like ahead of me because of that. I wanted that mom that was like 5, 10 years older than me to teach, tell me what resources are out there and be able to, and I never found her in that time, because it was we couldn't even say autism. We'd call it the A word. Like it wasn't even allowed in that time. And now I would probably say to someone, if you're a new mom, if you're someone who's just going through this, first of all, you just want to find 1 or 2 people who are in the same storm as you and find your people, because those people are going to become number one, you're angels, and very, very, and you're gonna be able to learn from each other. You're gonna be able to find more resources from each other. To this day, I have a beautiful special mom needs group that we are always throwing out ideas and learning from each other. Hey, there's this resource, there's this therapy, there's this treatment. This is what helped with potty training, and it's so important. You don't get to choose that the storm, but you get to choose if you're going to walk it alone. And you have to make sure you just need one or two people that are in the same storm as you, right, to be able to connect with them and share so many ideas. And because we were expected to become experts at that time, I didn't know what an IEP was. I walked in, I'm like, I don't even know what that is. No one sits and prepares you for that. So
to use your imagery, a lot of times we feel that Jesus is asleep in the storm. Mm-hmm. Like the story of Jesus being asleep in the boat in the storm. And the apostles wake him up and say, we're going to die. Yeah. And he's looking at him like, really? Calm down. Exactly. Calm down. Yeah. I'm here. Don't worry. It doesn't mean you don't go through a storm. Right. But you're not alone. Absolutely. And it seems like Jesus is asleep, but he's not.
Oh, he's working.
And he is, you want Jesus in your boat. Absolutely. Even if he looks like he's asleep. So, any final words that you guys want to, unless you have got anything else that you want to mention, and it doesn't have to be a final word.
An emphasis on moms, so whatever she said goes for dads too.
Amen. Dad, speak up. Amen.
Oh man, dads, right. You guys are so special. No,
Dad.
You really are. You really
Talk
are.
to us.
I know. No, I mean, it just even going back to when you said, they're seen as not as cursed or not wanted, and the cause. So many times we have very well-intended people who might be like, did you vaccinate? Did you take Tylenol when you're pregnant? Did you do this? They're so focused on the cause. Mm. And Jesus is saying that's focus on the human. Their dignity will surpass any milestone, will surpass any diploma, any job, any status, because they are so beautiful, and you are going to find joy in this life. You just have to choose, I'm going to live the life that I'm given now, and I'm going to choose joy over, it's not going to be easy. Jesus never promised that it would be easy. Amen. And but there is so much joy in it, and it's just your approach to it as a unit, as partner.
So one resource that came out of late, and this was from the Maha movement, and that is from Robert Kennedy, and it was a resource that I want you guys to talk about, because they came out and made some incredible, ideas.
So they came out really strong in claiming that it was a cure for autism.
Right.
And everybody jumped all over it, and it did help some of the children. Okay. It helped them in various ways. Yeah. It is by far not a cure.
Okay.
There isn't a cure.
Right.
As of today.
Right.
As of today, there is no cure. This drug that they came out and said that it would be a cure. Right. They came a few months later. They came back and said it was not a cure.
I understood.
Yeah.
So now that putting that to the side, with what we talked about with resources. But I just want to go back with a question. What do you guys, as a final word, that you want to tell people, especially in this situation, especially if they're finding themselves alone, look like they're navigating against a storm, so many problems and so many issues. And for me, and I'm going to start it off, it's starting with the divine, going into the spouse, and working with the child. And it has to be in that order. I love what was mentioned earlier, and that is what I call the if only. God, if only you remove this and I'll be happy. If only you do this and I'll be happy. Then if only that happens, if only we reach this milestone, then we'll be happy. No. You're not coming to God and seeing him as he is. You're coming in with a bag of questionnaires, or you're going to Santa Claus and saying, I need this for Christmas, and if you don't give it to me for Christmas, I won't be happy. So to me, one of the things that I want to tell you, and this is coming from somebody who is, I'm coming from the spiritual aspect, and that is putting God and letting God be God. A lot of times we put, lead us not into temptation first, and then we say, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. That's backwards. And removal of temptation, or finding the right way of dealing with all of this, or no, you begin with God, with who you are, broken. What you have, broken. And bringing in all of you in your brokenness to God, and allowing him to bless you, grace you, speak to you, help you. This is where you can get the resources. This is wherever, all these things. But first coming to God broken, naked, in need. And let God slowly rain upon you his graces. Take that graces and don't put it to the children first. Because I love what you guys did. And that is you took it to each other. And when you took it to each other, it's we need to build each other up. Because if the two of you remained broken individually instead of broken together. And that's what it is. You're still broken. You're not perfect, but broken individually, each one trying to figure out what's best for the child, that's going to create chaos. And the kids are going to pick up on it. Yeah. And therefore, they're going to interact with you one way, they're going to go interact with you another way, and then when they go to school, they're going to interact in a different way, and it's not going to be helpful for them. But it's also not going to be helpful for each other, spouses, and this is where it becomes a problem, and this is why the divorce rates are high, especially with these kinds of situations. So beginning with God, coming in broken, allowing your brokenness to speak to each other, and trying to figure out and trusting each other that the other person wants to figure this out just as much as you do, cares, but is coming in from a different angle. You as a dad, you as a mom, you as a man, you as a woman, and these are different sets of understandings and growth and whatever coming together. And what was mentioned earlier is you have gifts that she doesn't have, and you have gifts that you don't have, and you have gifts that, to enhance their gifts. Yeah. And this is where that comes in, and then we can take this to the children, and then being able to bring out all those who have given their lives in a beautiful way to this beauty. And so this is, for me, that's my word. I want to hear from you guys, as a final word to the parents.
Well, if you're a parent who's maybe just starting this, or maybe you're just in this journey and you feel like you're tired and lost, and I would tell you, you are going to be in denial, and that's okay. But don't be in denial for a long time. Get up, dust yourself, and get to work. And these kids are going to be such beautiful joy. There's going to be struggles. All along the way, there'll be struggles. I wish I could say that, you'll grieve it and then you'll be fine. There will be some grief, but that's okay, because that's how you go back to Jesus. You're going to need to go back to Jesus, and you're going to see the joy by seeing the presence of Jesus within your children. And that's been truly my greatest blessings, is to be able to see Jesus in my children in every little thing they do. This journey's been hard, but it also taught us to really be able to rely on each other, to really be able to, it forced honesty, it forced us to really connect stronger than ever. And so always make time for each other. Find something that brings you joy, to always remember who you are. Find your people, because that's important. Find one or two people that you can talk to who's not your spouse, besides your spouse. And remember, you're not alone. There's a big community here for you. And especially now, they're more open. So many beautiful women and men who can help you in this journey. You can find us, you can find me. It's very easy to find us. And we will connect you with such beautiful people. You know, the people who usually came to find me, because I was that older mom now, I receive from them more than I could have ever given them, honestly. And so that's definitely, I would say that to any parent going through this now. This journey is just, it's a life lived differently, but it's still a life lived so beautifully. And grace will always stay with you, like amazing. Mm-hmm.
Amen.
What I would say is, I know a lot of people are out there praying, and praying is great. Praying helps a lot. It helps you as a person. It helps you with your faith. It helps you deal with, your problems much, easier. But they're forgetting to put in the work. Don't forget to put in the work.
Well said.
You have to put in the work as well as the prayer, or you're not going to accomplish what you want to accomplish. Mm-hmm. So there is a reward at the end.
Beautiful.
Because as your kid gets more independent, because you're putting in that work and that prayer and all the good stuff, the reward is at the end. And once you see your child where they were to how they've developed, it is the biggest reward you can possibly ask for.
Man.
And there isn't anything better than that. Just seeing where you were, and because you put in all that hard work, with God's help, I can't describe it. It's an unbelievable feeling.
Amen.
So
you remind me of a great saint by the name of Saint Benedict, and he had a saying in Latin. It's ora et labora, which literally means prayer and work and labor. It's not just work. You hit the nail on the head. It's not just prayer. You can't just be praying. What I want to also say, you can't just be working. You need that balance.
Yeah.
You exactly, and that's
without that, you're not going to accomplish your dream.
beautiful. Thank you.
And also, I know now, I wish I knew about spiritual direction. So if you are someone who is spiritually, and you will spiritually struggle. It's not if, when.
Right.
You will spiritually struggle. Find whether you talk to someone at the church, or now there's even a website that has...
There's an app called Revive. Yes, and that helps out also. It's
absolutely.
And it's an app that you can download, and you can actually speak with somebody and create an appointment with somebody to help you in your spiritual journey, whether you're going through a hard time or you just want to grow in faith.
So do you want to be my spiritual director?
No.
I thought you're my spiritual director. Right. Revive is spelled REVIV3. So just
beautiful.
Be able to
And I
get
actually have used it, and I loved it.
Nice.
So, yes.
Very nice.
Yeah. But I'm still searching for that spiritual director.
Amen.
You'll come. For me as an educator, from my perspective, what I would love to see, I would love to see our children that are in school more involved with the special needs classes. The gen ed population could take my class as an elective to work with my students, and they offer that mostly at almost every public school. I know my niece does it in the 5th grade with, students with autism. And I would encourage you to have your children have that experience in school and to be able to volunteer, in a classroom, because the rewards are so amazing. That the friendship they build, my students wait outside my classroom, when is Amelia going to be here? And the benefits for the other kids and what it teaches them, it just makes them better humans. And to have that interaction and to grow up with that, I encourage it, because I don't see it enough in, specifically even in my building. I have one student who's Chaldean who, has my class as an elective, and I wish I saw more, because it's so beautiful. And, and I have students that now want to go into teaching as a special needs teacher, because that's how much it's moved them.
Amen.
And so that would be just my challenge for parents.
So our kids go to Friendship Circle, which is it's a Jewish foundation that helps special needs kids.
Beautiful
Is that the one
program.
next to St. Thomas?
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful program.
Yes. Unbelievable program.
Thank God.
They do a great job.
Yes.
Our kids go there, and the volunteers there, they have to sometimes turn them away because they have too many volunteers.
Wow.
When our kids did Holy Communion, there was 7 special needs kids. They had to cancel classes because they didn't have enough volunteers.
Wow.
Our kids also do a soccer program, and the way the soccer program works, it's after school. It's called Unified, where typical kids help run the program, and they're playing the games with the kids. They're their buddies.
Really?
So they keep the game going, moving. So they teach them, like they pull them and they show them what to do and this.
Wow.
It's not just a coach.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my whole point with even the soccer and the basketball, they play soccer and basketball. We have not seen one Chaldean kid volunteer in those programs, and it really breaks my heart.
Right.
Because this is my community.
Right.
And the kids, I'm not taking anything away from the kids that do volunteer. They're unbelievable kids.
Thank God.
They're unbelievable. But I would love to see
So if this is something that it's
our
a calling,
community
yeah.
volunteer a
Yes.
little bit more.
Right. And we're going to list it in one of the resources.
It starts with the parents. I think the parents need to push it a little more. The kids benefit from it. Totally benefit. They learn to love in a different way. They learn patience in a different way. They learn so much. It's so much they can learn, and it helps develop them.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm a good person.
So,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Really? It's beautiful.
and I
Yes.
haven't. It's mind-boggling that I haven't seen one.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, God willing, we're moving as a Chaldean community into greater dwelling into the blessing aspect of all of this, and not just crying about it, and growing and building. I can foresee within the next few years that we'd have something similar to a friendship circle. It's something similar. I don't think it'll be on the same level, because right now we're just getting a hold of. We're just getting ourselves acclimated to the blessings that come with all of this, directly and indirectly. But the Lord is opening up doors, and with the Lord's help and with the Lord's guidance and His wisdom, we will be moving towards this. And this isn't just from the church aspect, but this is also, God willing, from different community programs and different community projects, from those who are involved in the Chaldean community. So just as a thank you to all of you, and I have to say that Cliff, you're a blessing. Silvana, you're a blessing.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Linda, you're a blessing. And I got to say
We
that
love you.
you're a blessing too, and this is, in all of its difficulties, God's blessings rain down upon all of you and all of us. So just to end it with a blessing, that the blessing of our children can really teach us to become better children of God. And may Almighty God bless you all, the Father and the Son, the Holy Spirit, now and forever. Amen. Amen.